Hi, it's good to see you again. It's good to be with you again. And today we're going to talk about a chapter that we left out, and we said we'd come back to it. You'll remember we talked about the age of the rocks at Wintergreen, and we separated that from the age of the mountains. And today what we're going to do is we're going to come to a much more recent time. We're not going to be talking about millions of years, we're going to talk about thousands. Because what we want to talk about is how this forest evolved and came to be what it is today. Wintergreen's forest is unique. It's unique because there are many places here that have never been under the plow. And for that reason, the natural gardens that are here, many of these gardens are about 4,000 years old. Not the plants that old, but the assemblage. The assemblage of species is about that old. And we're gonna make a couple stops. This will probably take a total 3 or 4 or 5 minute stops. But I'm sitting in the Smoking Springs Nature Preserve. 20,000 years ago, we had a much colder climate. The ice advance, the Wisconsin ice advance. It's a glaciation, not an age. It's a glaciation within the Pleistocene glacial age. The ice came as far south as New Jersey, across Pennsylvania, didn't quite touch the little horn of West Virginia. We didn't have mountaintop glaciers here that we know of. But we had the life zones that were next to the glacier. So think of the glacier as polar ice, and think of everything south of the glacier as northern forests. So 20,000 years ago, we had a northern forest here. We had spruce and fir. We would not have had the oak hickory forest we have today. This forest would have been farther south, probably huddled, shivering on south-facing slopes. Temperatures warmed, and by about 7,000 years ago, had warmed to the point where they were warmer than today. So these northern forests that were here, these northern completely evergreen forests, they didn't pick up on their feet and run back north, but they were outcompeted by the southern species that came out of their warm spots and outcompeted them. And the northern plants migrated back to their respective positions today, and the southern species advanced. I hope that makes sense. I'm oversimplifying just a little bit. But northern plants, when all of this happened, they really had two choices. They could cast their offspring, their seeds, farther north, or they could climb a mountain. You lose about 4 degrees for every 1,000 feet you climb. And therefore, the highest mountains that we have today have the northernmost plants. And interestingly enough, Wintergreen is high enough, elevationally, to have latitudinally some of these little northern pockets that are left. And we're sitting in one. We're sitting in the Smoking Springs Nature Preserve. And I'm sitting on a yellow birch tree, which is considered a northern hardwood. And there's also sugar maple in here. We've actually made maple sugar. And there are some beech trees in here too. And this particular component, beech is a component of this particular ecosystem. Beech, birch, sugar maple, which is all through northern hardwoods. And I'm going to show you, in this preserve, I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes the southern range limit in North America for one of these species. So these forests settled out to what they are today about 4,500 years ago. And it was basically a southern forest, but if you get high enough to be north-like enough, there were little natural gardens that are relics of the late Pleistocene, and we're sitting in one. Okay, we're still in the nature preserve at Wintergreen, and I talked about a northern hardwood forest, and I talked about the fact that this was sort of a relic ecosystem from the late Wisconsin ice advance during the Pleistocene. Here's an example of a shrub that you'll find in the nature preserve. This is speckled alder. And there's lots of alder along the stream basins in Virginia, but this one is different, and you'll see that the speckling name is from the trunk, the lenticels, the white lenticels on the trunk there. And we are looking at a plant that is reaching or has reached here, as far as we know, its southern range limit in North America today. So this is a true relic. And again, this plant is not 4,500 years old, but the fact that this plant is still here and still present as a member of this ecosystem, it's the ecosystem itself that has maintained itself since about 4,500 years ago. And we're going to go to one more site and look at another example of this. But the other thing that we're not covering, we're just hitting the high points, is that it's not just the plants, but birds like the veery. You may hear the gurgling, sort of flutish call of the veery in here in spring, and that's a northern thrush. So it's not just the plants. On to the next site. Okay, we're still talking about these old ecosystems that are sort of relic gardens that are left at Wintergreen, because it's really, this forest floor has never been under the plow. It's been timbered, but never cut deeply. As you can see, some of the old rotted debris in here. But this is Trillium. Used to be in the lily family, now it's in its own family. It takes 7 to 9 years to go from seed to flower the first time, and there are literally thousands in here. And this site, it might be noted that this was destined for a condominium, for condominiums. And we had a very benevolent developer and a very supportive property owner association, and we were able to take this out of development and preserve it. So this is Trillium Field Park.